Hey, here again. This time for Father's Day. So, since the Father's Day is coming, let me just think a little bit about being a father. Because in the end, I'm a father. So, as a father, this day makes you think about what that means. Because we all have a father figure to look at, whether it's within our own house, within our neighbors, within our community. We have them to think about. We have them to see them. We have them to see what that mold look like. So, seeing so many fathers around you, once you are a father, you think about what makes a good or a bad father. You also think about what makes a good or bad father when you're young, when you're a son, when you're a daughter, and that makes that list of qualities long, long in either direction, good or bad. We all have qualities that we think are good as a father. We all have qualities that we think are bad for a father. Some of those are hard worker. You see his parents as those that go out and work and work and work to make sure that their kids have what they need. We also may think fathers gotta be understanding. They're tough, but they also understand that, kids are kids, that they're playing, they're doing all of these little things, and that it's there. Parents are there, fathers are there just to, you know, what is my kid doing? And let me try to understand it from their point of view and see if I can help them, see if I can join them in what they're doing. They're also funny. Of course, dad jokes is a thing. So fathers are there making sure the kids have a good time. They tell jokes. They make all of this kind of silly things so that kids are there trying to have set a good time, to understand. And, sometimes they demand of what their life is, what's going on around them, all of those kind of things. Fathers are there. They're so tireless. They're working. Not only they're working, they come from work and they spend their time with the kids. They come from work and they do their yard work. Come from work and sometimes they, work on some other place. May have one, two, three, or four jobs. It all depends how difficult life is for that father. But we see them as tireless, always there, always doing something, always having energy. Who knows from where, but they have energy. They're also stoic. They are sitting there. They're getting everything from every direction. What is happening? It's something that's not going to affect them. They're going to absorb and they're going to move on. They're going to be that granite sitting there, absorbing the elements and it's still standing. That's some of the way that people see fathers. Some people see fathers as responsible. They're there to make sure that kids have what they need, that the house have what they need, that their spouse has what they need, that their needs are met. That's something there that they have. Those are traits that in the end are not unique to fathers. They belong to everyone. Do you want to be a father? You don't have to meet those requirements because in the end, you can meet those requirements for any single thing. So in the end, what makes a father? That's one of those things that I remember asking myself many, 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 many times. What do I want to be as a father? Now that I have this kid that I need to take care, someone that will look at me for so many years, and that I will be molding their choices, that I'll be instructing in life because they have no understanding until they start taking all of those others, uh, taking all of that knowledge that I have and all of those lessons, and start being a person. When I at home and I see neighbors that come after they left at 5 in the morning with me, and it's 6 p.m. and they get home and they start playing with their kids, that's something that matters because they spend their day working, and now they're spending their afternoon. Are they tired? Who knows? Are they bored? Who knows? But they're there with the kids playing. And that's what matters because that's what the kids will remember. That's what the kids will get. They are the ones that will sit with the kids and read them a story, tell them a joke, they will play games, build forts, they'll do everything. Those are the kind of things that are important. Those are the kind of things that start making a father a father. Becoming a father is like flipping a switch. Because all of a sudden, of course, you become a dad joke teller. That's a thing. Look it up. But you also become like a radiant board if someone starts crossing paths with your kids. You don't want anyone messing with them. So you'll be there to protect them. And if there's fires, you'll be like a rhino, man. Be stamping fires everywhere just to make sure your kids are safe. Or at least that's what I tell myself. At least that's kind of the stuff that I was exposed to. But, I know that this doesn't always happen. Sometimes we don't get what we want. Sometimes kids make choices that their fathers do not understand. They don't get it. You have to understand. If your daughter says you're a princess and you have to sit there getting your nails done, getting your makeup done, getting your hair combed, of course, you are a princess. And if your son or your other kid says, hey, dad, let's play cars, and you have to make it as you are, the Formula One racer of the year, you are. You don't care what anyone tells you. Because at that moment, it's the keys that matter. It's the one that those are the kind of things that lets you think about prejudice. They want you to be who they want, who they want. And you don't get to say no because that's that thing or the other. You are there with your kids, and that is what matters. Those are your kids, and they are what matter. But it's also not a solitary role. Fathers are there. They have their spouse, they have their families, they have their community to lean on. You have their friends to talk. And a father, I think, in the N6 community, because a good father sees his children in other children. The moment that you have your kids and they're growing up in your community, you want to make sure that the community is good and safe. So you start engaging more with your own community, understanding what's going on, seeing what's going on. You sit out, you check on your kids. At the same time, you're checking on other kids. It's the way to get involved. That makes a father a father. Your kids are not alone in the world. The same way that you're watching them, you're also watching the others. And that makes for a safer, more united world. You also understand that being a father means that your kids will grow into their own person. It means that they will make choices that you will not make. It means that they will do things that you will not like. Not necessarily because they're wrong, but it's because they're not the things that you will do. And that gives you comprehension on a very different level. Because now all of a sudden, the father is to accept that his kid is this other thing. And if you're doing your job as a father, you will accept that. You will understand. You will look at your own decisions and try to figure out why. And sometimes you'll figure out that, yeah, it wasn't as you thought. And your own kid taught you to accept that. You will also make mistakes. We all make them. When you're being a father, you look back to your own experience and you say, I want to do some of those things and I don't want to do some of those other things. Some of those things that you don't want to do, sometimes it's not because they were wrong. It's just that the choices are different. Those are not the choices that you will make. And hopefully, the mistakes that you make, the choices that you make, will teach your own kid that when they are in your position, they will keep the good ones, and then the ones that they don't like, the ones that turn out to be wrong, they'll be able to fix that. And little by little, will make for better people in the future. They will be much more comprehensive. They will look into life so differently simply because we thought them not good and they took those good lessons and they passed them on. The definition of success as a father is very, very, very broad. Failure, I think, is something that is difficult to achieve, something that requires you purposefully failing. Because the most important thing in my head is consistency, being there. Money will be tight, time will be tight. But if you're there with your kids, you be giving them support, love, care that will hold them for many, many, many years. Don't be around, and your kids will tell you when they, your kids will tell you. And I think that's what makes failure. It takes effort not to being there. But being there, yes, there is effort required being there. But being consistently there will give you a whole lot more. Because once you're there every day, once you see them growing up, once you see them making mistakes, see them scraping their knees, you will slowly create everything that you need to help them, wipe those tears, get up from the floor and move on, help around the house, be around the community. Those are the things that will be there and that they will learn, that they will move on, and that they will remember back when they're older. So if I were president, I will no, I will try to set an example. I'll be there to be an example of understanding. As a president, you will have to deal with people from all walks of life. And you have to try to understand what's going on in their lives, what's going on around them. Because that is your role. You're trying to make sure that your power is there to serve everyone. And you have to understand all that's going on to try to make a good decision. A good decision is not always one that will make you happy, that will make everyone happy, but it's a good decision in the end. And that's where understanding will come from. You also have to be responsible, just like you became responsible when your kid was there. You show up, you did your work, you spend your days, you spend your nights taking care of that person. Responsibility will make sure that you take care of everyone around you. You also have to be an example of community. Community goes beyond your house. Now it's your neighbors. And the rest of the world is your neighbor. So you want your neighbors to be good so that your community is safe for you and yours. You also have to seek laughter. Working is hard. Life is also hard. Seeking laughter is very important. And trying to get people to see you can find joy, you can crack a laugh at many of the jokes and many of the things that life matter. We take some of that somberness that sometimes life has away. It would take the edge out. And that is an important thing to learn. You also need to learn on handling defeat. We're gonna lose. That is as simple as life. When you play a game, you're gonna win and you're gonna lose. How do you handle that defeat is as important as winning, as important as taking the championship. Because defeat is also learning. Defeat is part of life. Not making it difficult, not making it so that you have to burn everything because you lost. That's not the way to go. So handling defeat at that high level is a very good example to set. But also, you're not alone. So leaning on those around you, the loved ones that are around you, is also very important. Being a father is not a lonely thing to do. You're there with at least one other person caring for your kids. So lean on them. Show them that they are so important that when things are bad, you know that they have your back. Enjoy.